It's interesting that you make that note of that Arkansas Texas game at night. I never had thought of it quite like that. I like to think of it. Obviously last year we went to the 10-game SEC schedule, and the SEC really screwed over the Razorbacks because they added Georgia and Florida as their two added games. So I thought they were just throwing them a bone, but hey, I think you're onto something there. So I really did want to ask you about that game. I mean, I assume Texas fans think that's going to be an easy win. I speak to a lot of Arkansas fans. They think they got a real fighting chance. And I've been saying it all off season. I think the Razorbacks are going to shock the world and win that game. I think they're a lot better than people give them credit for. Obviously, it sounds like you maybe not so much, but what's the expectation there for Texas and Longhorn fans going into that game? Do they think it's going to be a tough one? Or as I've seen some people say, they think the opener against Louisiana is going to be a tougher game than that?
Or most Texas fans think Louisiana is tougher than Arkansas. I mean, look, Arkansas was a 3-win team last season, so you're not going to. Texas was a 7-win team, right? So you're not going to have a team that's just logic, right? And then Louisiana's a team that beat Iowa State last year in the season opener. So that's a team that's posted, I think, 10 wins or more the last 2 years. You're familiar with their coach, Billy Napier. I mean, he's a guy that I believe is destined to be at a big time program. Yep. And this is almost like a Super Bowl for him. It's almost like an audition of sorts if he can go out and get a win against Texas. I mean, now we're talking about him the entire rest of the season and what programs he can go to after that. Right. So that game ends up being tough. They've got the majority of their starters back on both sides of the ball, especially the quarterback. So that game ends up being, I think it's one of those, like, even Sarkisian had said, hey, this is not the other school in Louisiana. Okay, this program is really good. So I think Texas fans look at that. Then look at Arkansas as a team that is rebuilding. But it's interesting you say something about that. Jeff Ketchum, who's the owner and publisher of Orange Buds, he's been telling me, he's like, look, Anwar, Arkansas is a crazy place to go into. And if you've never been there, he's been born. He's like, it's a crazy place. Strange things happen there. Arkansas people, that rivalry goes back for years. They don't like Texas. So that's one of those things that I'll be interested to see and, of course, to follow, because this is an audition of some sorts for us to really get a chance. It's Texas' first SEC game that you're really paying attention to, and so I don't know. Some of it will depend to me. And the thing is that Texas, working in Texas favors, they got a hellified running back by the name of Bijan Robinson, former 5-star. He's going to be the bell cow, for the University of Texas. There's some Heisman odds on him, but he's a guy that, within, 3 out of his last 4 games, rushed for over 400 yards, 100 yards each. And then in the bowl game, I want to say, it's killing me right now, but almost like 170 yards with maybe 9 to 10 carries, something phenomenal like that. He's gonna be a problem, right? For your guys, got to get used to him, and he's only a sophomore. Everyone on your podcast needs to get used to that name. He's going to be a problem. And Sarkisian, and as you know from his Alabama days, when he has his top running back, that's the person who's getting 20 plus carries. So yeah, I think Arkansas has that to contend with. And the quarterback that Texas eventually rolls out there. There's a quarterback battle going on right now between Casey Thompson and Hudson Card. But Casey Thompson in the bowl game against Colorado as a guy that threw for 4 touchdowns in basically 1 quarter. Now, is he going to do that every single game? Clearly not. I mean, it's like arena football kind of numbers, but he's a really good quarterback. And again, Sarkisian has a good track record of dealing with quarterbacks. It's, dating way back to the USC years, Washington years. So, if he is the quarterback whisperer, and you guys saw Mac Jones before, if he's the quarterback whisperer that he has been, Texas ends up probably having an advantage in that area. And Texas also, from a talent standpoint, probably has a little more talent than Oklahoma. I mean, not Oklahoma, Arkansas. The Texas' biggest issue has just been the coaching aspect of it, coaching up the talent. But, we go composite rankings. the guys on this team, Texas had 2 top 5 recruiting classes under Tom Herman,
Mm-hmm.
back-to-back seasons, according to Rivals, and I believe they were 4 each season. So there's talent that's here on this roster, and if this new staff gets the most out of this talent, then all of a sudden there could be a lot of, a little bit of a differences in that game. So, it's a game that, again, I want to get past Louisiana on that. Like today, you tell me, hey, who you got to put $100 on? I'll put my $100 on Texas for those reasons that I just stated.
Mm-hmm.
But the game's on the road, okay? And, when you got a new team on the road, and it's, new offense, new defense, new things, everything new on special teams. And then you got a new quarterback in his first, road start in a hostile environment. Strange things happen. You've been doing this for a long time. Strange things have been known to happen. So that's just kind of my preliminary thoughts on that game.